All right, let's kick off our opening drive, brought to you by Chevy. This is our first down.
Because of the significance of this decision from a stadium standpoint, we will make sure that we take our time to get this right. Because not only are we building a world-class stadium, but we're building a world-class mixed-use development, and we want to make sure that we get this right. We have had occasional meetings with the state of Illinois, and also we're just grateful that the NFL has been very helpful to us, especially Commissioner Goodell. But even though we've had occasional meetings with the state of Illinois, our sole focus at this point in time is working on a world-class stadium and mixed-use development in Hammond, Indiana.
Are you hopeful that Arlington is the property where you guys build?
Well, somebody mentioned the commissioner. He has said to us many times in league meetings, hope is not a strategy. We have to deal with the here and now. We have to deal with real circumstances, and these are the real circumstances.
All right, so that is our first time hearing from Kevin Warren and George McCaskey in quite some time, at least quite some time since they've been asked questions and answered questions by the media. What was your takeaway from the overall meeting today with the media?
Well, the here and now is that this should have not happened here and now. It should have happened 2 months ago, because 2 months ago was the same sort of scenario that you heard unfold today. The Bears reaffirming themselves, going to Indiana, wanting to build on the site. Now they have 2 sites there. One they are cleared on as far as environmental testing. The other one, they're still undergoing that kind of testing. So what you heard today was, I think, Kevin Warren and George McCaskey had a pretty good moment behind the microphone. This was as nimble as we have seen and heard them. So that part of it, I think they had 2 months to prepare, perhaps. So they better be solid. What you didn't hear was them saying no and closing the door entirely to Illinois, because I do think that's left open just a crack. And until that's entirely closed, people are going to think that there is a leverage play, because they have not anything formalized in Indiana.
Clay, what were your takeaways from today's press conferences?
Today felt to me like the soft launch of a breakup with Illinois. You're preparing the fan base for this, saying this is something that is actually realistic. This is something that can happen. And I'm thinking, when you're saying the conversation with Illinois has been minimal, we've already they've put some money into the testing. They're moving forward with this. A year ago, I would have said, this is leverage. 6 months ago, I said Indiana's leverage. Today, it feels like they're the leader in the clubhouse. And the fact that there's this divide between Illinois and the Bears saying they haven't gotten a deal, Illinois saying there's no legislation, and it's like 2 guys are standing at a door waiting for the other one to walk in, and neither of them are coming. So to me, it feels like this thing is really headed towards Indiana.
I understand that, and I think it probably made me feel a little bit more like that if it was 60-40. But this morning, Illinois was having the favor. I think it's more 50-50 now. So I do think it maybe moved the needle a little bit in that direction. That said, I still think that what happened is that people on this side of the border may get together and figure out exactly if they want to pursue some legislation and how they do that. Because over the summer, there hasn't been that kind of communication. There hasn't been that kind of progress that they anticipated. There hasn't been any, really. They called it minimal in terms of the talks between the 2 sides. So the Bears are preparing the fan base for the move to Indiana, even though that still seems a far, far away goal for them. I think shovels in the ground. If you're looking at a target date, it's still early 2027, it seems.
I feel like there was a interesting balance today between we're going to take our time and we're not putting any more deadlines, because Kevin Warren's wife told him no more deadlines allowed. And also, there is urgency, and George McCaskey telling Kevin Warren, I don't care that it took you 11 years to get the stadium built in Minnesota. We don't have that much time. So what is next, David, for this project and the next benchmark? Maybe if we're not setting deadlines, what's the next benchmark?
While the Bears are going at whatever pace they're going at, Indiana wants to operate at the speed of business. So that is going to be the next step. Can they formalize an offer? Will there be anything in writing? Are they going to commit in that way? Because rhetoric is just that. It's empty until there's a signature. And until there's a signature, there's no clarity. So right now, they cleared some things up today, but they didn't say anything today that they shouldn't have said 2 months ago.
This obviously the biggest story taking place today at Halas Hall. Always a big day when you hear from the chairman and the president. But there is football to be played this weekend at Soldier Field, which is where we turn our attention to for our second down, as Ben Johnson announced that the starters guys Majority of them will not be playing, but there's still a decision to make at left tackle. Take a listen to what Ben Johnson has planned at that position on Saturday.
I know I alluded to the left tackle position last time I was up here. I'll go ahead and address that right now. Our plan for that game is we'll start 𝗻𝗁 first quarter, and we're looking to alternate him and 𝗬𝗏 throughout that game based on the quarters. So hopefully get an equal number of snaps right there for those two guys, and we'll continue to reassess where we're at that position as we go. So I'll open it up from there.
All right, so Ben Johnson addressing the left tackle position in his opening statement of today's press conference. Guys, this left tackle adventure has been one for the books. Obviously, it felt like initially maybe it was Braxton Jones's job to lose. Then he gets injured. 𝗦𝗏 all of a sudden might be coming back sooner than anyone thought. Ryan Poles wants to get him in pads before the season opener. And then now 𝗻𝗁 𝗠𝗏𝗃 is going to start the preseason game. In the preseason opener, 𝗬𝗏 is going to get equal reps. Is the competition getting murkier, or are we starting to get some clarity?
I think they want to be fair and see that they're not overlooking anybody, but I believe that Braxton Jones still provides the most certainty if he's healthy. And that's what you're looking for, stability on your offensive line that has to be the strength of this team. 𝗦𝗏𝗃 starting and getting a good look play. I wonder if that means they're trying to keep an open mind to him playing here or showcasing him so maybe they could move him. Who knows, because he's a third-round pick. You would want to get value in return if you do trade him. You often see teams showcasing players in the preseason. If not, then he's a depth piece. I think Wills is the same way, but I think the starter right now, you feel good about Braxton Jones if he comes back.
I think you're exactly right. And we saw Braxton Jones did return to practice today. And right now, what I got to say about Ben Johnson is this guy's got options. He's got more options than the Bachelor. You know, we talked about that earlier on the Charter podcast. So obviously, Braxton back at practice today, not going to play in the game. Then you got 𝗻𝗁, you got 𝗬𝗏. I'm interested to see how that goes. Do I think either of them are going to be the starting left tackle? Probably not, but I think they're battling for a roster spot. So that means a lot for the Bears. Who's the backup tackle and who's going to maybe make this roster? And then let's not forget about Theo Benedict. They put him in last year. Do you think if he has a really good game and showcases himself, that they're not willing to put him at left tackle? They were 5-2 with him at left tackle last year. I think they'll do that.
It's also, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, and then 𝗦𝗏𝗃. And the 𝗦𝗏𝗃 news I'm sure we're going to get to, but I think that's fascinating as well.
Yeah, to Theo Benedict, to that point real quickly, Theo Benedict's making this team. He's been running the twos on the right side of the line. Okay. I think Theo Benedict is your swing tackle moving forward. He's somebody that can fill in at any role, and obviously Ben Johnson's been very high on him. The 𝗦𝗏𝗃 news, I think, is fascinating, guys. Ryan Poles telling CHGO, their podcast, that 𝗦𝗏𝗃 could potentially be back in pads before training camp is over. That's a maybe. He was very careful to say we are hopeful that is the case. What do you make of 𝗦𝗏𝗃 being back in the mix potentially?
Very surprising. Hope he's not rushed back. But if he is on this roster, I want to know how many tackles can you keep? That's why I talk about showcasing 𝗦𝗏𝗃. That's why you wonder about 𝗬𝗏 and consistency. Are you going to keep 5 offensive tackles? That would be unusual. I don't think that they would. So I think there's going to be an odd man out.
You agree?
Agree.
Okay.
Agree.
All right, let's go to our third down of this opening drive. There was some injury news this week that we haven't gotten a chance to get to here on this show, as Coby Bryant is now set to miss 4 to 6 months as he recovers from surgery. That brings in Xavier Woods. Take a listen to this.
He's a pro, and you can see he's got that approach about him. He knows what his body needs. He knows all these schemes that DA has. I think he does he's really taken to the system. You throw him in there with the ones, and we're not missing a beat on the back end right now. And so that's encouraging to see. Hopefully we'll see, him feel a little bit more comfortable just in this setting with his teammates and see his personality start to come out a little bit more. I think that's where I don't have a good gauge yet. I'm not spending enough time with him out there, but I like what I've seen so far. And like I said, I don't feel like we've missed a beat on defense on the back end. I think the communication's been really clean.
Listen, that's high praise from Ben Johnson, somebody who has not been shy to be critical in his tenure, in his short tenure at the podium. Guys, Xavier Woods, a veteran, 121 starts, obviously making a good impression. It's no Coby Bryant, but it is something.
I think they did a good job with this turnaround, bringing him in here. And I think Xavier Woods is a guy that has played with Al Harris, so he's a pro. Al Harris isn't going to put his name on a guy if he doesn't trust him, if he's not a professional, if he's not a guy that you want to help Dylan Thielman come along. Well, let's be honest. He's not Coby Bryant. Coby Bryant, they brought him here because that was a piece that Dennis Allen wanted. He wanted an eraser. You know, David, when you were writing back in the day, you loved an eraser because you didn't get everything right the first time. If you call the wrong coverage and you get Coby Bryant matched up on somebody, this is a guy in the NFL who played slot. He played outside corner. He can cover a slot receiver. He can cover a tight end. He's physical enough to get off of tight end blocks. He was going to be a great eraser. And I think now the problem is this puts a little bit more emphasis on whatever's going on with Kyler Gordon. I don't know. You probably don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I don't even think Kyler Gordon knows at this point. But if he can come back, if he can be the player he was, that'd be a big help. But that's somewhere you don't want to be in counting on a guy that you just don't know if he's going to be able to play.
You miss the possibility of Coby Bryant, but can you miss what you never had as a defense? And now Dennis Allen has to look at it a different way. He has to look at it, okay, Xavier Woods is my guy. We can't be as aggressive. Maybe Dylan Thieneman is going to learn at a slower rate. Maybe the focus will be on our corners because their corners could be very good if they stay healthy. Jalen Johnson is still elite. So Xavier Woods can be a guy who's an excellent stopgap. Ryan Poles deserves credit for pivoting quickly, and I think the Bears defense doesn't have to be disastrous for them. They can still be solid. They just may not be explosive.
Let's move to our fourth down of this opening drive as we talk about the Chicago Bears and the lofty goals for 2026, but maybe just in the career of Ben Johnson. He told Dan Pompei of The Athletic this quote, which is just fascinating. You've got 31 other teams coming to training camp saying our goal is to win the Super Bowl. I want more than that. I want to have the highest scoring offense ever, which happens to be the 2013 Denver Broncos. I know how many points per game they scored, 37.9, and I want to surpass them. I want shutouts. I want blowouts. What did you guys think of not just this quote from Ben Johnson, but this day in the life done beautifully by Dan Pompei of The Athletic, who got to take us behind the curtain in what Ben Johnson's day looks like?
Tremendous profile by Dan Pompei, who is the best. Dan, I think he pointed a picture of Ben Johnson, the leader, more than the play caller. And I think if he talks in that kind of rhetoric, it's lofty, it's bold, it's confident, but it takes you back. And Dan made the comparison to Mike Ditka embodied everything that the Bears want to be about. And Ben Johnson does that as well as anybody since Ditka. Lovie Smith also came in on day one talking about beating the Packers. Mike Ditka talked about winning the Super Bowl. Does not bother me. It's on brand for Ben Johnson to talk about wanting to be the best offense in league history.
This isn't a guy sitting back drinking Miller Lights, man. If they let me call plays, we'd score 40 points a game. You know, we'd be great. No, this is Ben Johnson. When he was with the Lions from 2022 to 2024, those 3 years, he was the #1 play caller in the NFL, the highest average. In 2023, he averaged almost 34 points a game. He's not that far off. Yeah. There's a trend here. He wants to get better, keep improving. What is that? That's 38 points a game. I love him saying this. It gives his players confidence and gives them something to shoot for.
It also helps us answer the question, how will the Bears handle success? Well, you come back hungrier than you were last year. That's
Absolutely.
how.
Love it.